Making headlines statewide as texting and driving is now illegal in the Lone Star State. Going into effect the 1st of this month, we're talking about how this new law will impact drivers. Plus, Senate Bill 4, otherwise known as the Sanctuary Cities Bill, supposed to have gone into effect September 1st. What is preventing this controversial piece of legislation from being enacted?
And it's mostly quiet and dry, not only here across the big country, but elsewhere across the U.S. A cold front Tuesday brings a change in the weather. I'll show you what you can expect. It's all coming up on Abilene Today.
Your news in your community. This is KRVC's Abilene Today.
Good morning, I'm Monica Wicke. Jody McKinnon has the morning off.
And I'm Grant Toster. Today is Monday, September 4th. Happy Labor Day, everybody.
Well, here on Abilene, we have top stories and weather every 10 minutes. But before we get to all of those stories, we are going to talk about weather. Like you said, it's Labor Day. Yes. Most people are fortunate, have the day off. What kind of weather can they expect out there today?
Well, usually you expect Labor Day to kind of be the end of summer, right? Well, it's definitely feel more summer-like out there today. Let's take a look at satellite and radar once again right now. This is across the whole U.S., depending on where you are, where you have family, or maybe where you're headed back from. But we're pretty much quiet across the entire continental U.S. You can kind of see that swirl underneath that banner up there in Canada. This kind of swirl of clouds right there. That is the low pressure system that's going to create a cold front and eventually affect our weather here all the way down across Texas as a result of a cold front. It's going to bring us cooler temperatures for our Wednesday, but I'll have more on that later. Right now, though, we're in the upper 60s with clear skies, dew points in the mid 60s, so likely once again waking up to some fog on your windshield as you head out the door this morning with light southeasterly winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Temperatures elsewhere across the big country cooler as you head to the southeast parts of the big country, from 65 in Brownwood to 67 in Coleman. Warmer up north from 70 degrees in Haskell and 72 up in Stamford. You guys are the warm spot this morning. Otherwise, most of us in the 60s to start your Labor Day. Temperatures, or winds rather, out of the south-southeast, calm for most of us, but around 5 here in Abilene and 10 miles per hour out in Sweetwater. And those are going to pick up as that cold front moves through tomorrow and become more northerly. All of details on that later. Monica?
Grant, thank you. The time is now 6:02, and there's a lot happening in the Texas legislature over the past few days. Friday, September 1st, marked the enactment of more than 600 pieces of legislation becoming law across the state, and one that is garnering quite a reaction, a statewide ban on texting and driving. The new law prohibits drivers from reading, writing, or sending electronic messages. Your first offense could cost you up to $99. The second could rise to $200. TxDOT says more than 100,000 crashes last year involved distracted driving. And this new ban on distracted driving, exciting news for one family in Texas who has spent the last 7 years asking for texting and driving to become illegal. KRBC's Paige Peruso spoke with the family about this milestone, and this morning we are hearing their story.
Well, why don't you put on a blindfold and drive down the football field going 70 miles an hour? Do you think that's safe?
That's what Jeannie Brown said texting and driving is equivalent to. Texas finally passed the no texting and driving law, something Brown helped get through the legislature.
It's really exciting, and in fact, when I was driving to school this morning, I was thinking, man, this is the first day they're going to be ticketing people who are texting and driving.
It is now illegal to write, read, or send any message using your cell phone while driving. She started lobbying the state capitol for a law like this one when her daughter was killed in a texting and driving crash.
You know, I've been through a lot of hurt in my life and a lot of pain, but losing Alex was the hardest thing.
Alex Brown was on her way to school while she was texting and driving in 2009. She lost control of her truck and was flung out her passenger window. Brown now warns others about the risks.
And I'm hoping that people have heard enough about the dangers of texting and driving that they realize their life's important and that they can't be safe unless they're paying attention to what they're doing.
Brown is glad lawmakers have taken the steps to help prevent senseless deaths on the road.
We pretty much all get one chance. You know, there's some people that, you know, they get other chances. Most of us just get one chance to do things the right way. And I hope parents are setting that example for their kids, and then their kids are listening and being safe on the road. There's just no reason for somebody to die because of texting and driving.
And another new law in place, the open carry of Bowie knives, swords, daggers, and spears. This as a result of Texas Knife Law Reform Bill, which allows people to open carry anywhere except correctional facilities, schools, bars, and places of worship. We are continuing with some of our top headlines this morning. It has been 4 days since new Texas laws were supposed to take effect. but one still has yet to be enacted. Arguably one of the most controversial new pieces of legislation, Senate Bill 4, the bill banning sanctuary cities across the state, has been temporarily blocked by a federal district judge. SB 4 allows local law enforcement officers to question the immigration status of people they detain or arrest and seeks to punish local government officials who do not cooperate. There is no word yet on when SB 4 will go into effect. And another headline causing fear among the immigrant community, rumors that President Donald Trump is expected to end DACA. But not right away. Officials say it would be at least 6 months before any action was taken. The Obama-era program, which stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, allows undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children to study and work in the country without fear of deportation. Currently, about 800,000 people benefit from the program. Despite these rumors, the president saying back in February that he doesn't want DACA to end.
We are going to deal with DACA with heart. I have to deal with a lot of politicians, don't forget, and I have to convince them that what I'm saying is right, and I appreciate your understanding on that. But the DACA situation is a very difficult thing for me because, you know, I love these kids. I love kids. I have kids and grandkids.
Coming up a little later in our show, we will have a more in-depth look into what could be the future of DACA. But President Trump also faced with answering questions about what to do about North Korea. Yesterday at the White House, President Donald Trump asking for military options from his national security team. But that's not all they discussed. There were also talks of economic retaliation. Hallie Jackson is in Washington with more.
After church on National Prayer Day, not words of faith, but words of warning instead.
Mr. President, will you attack North Korea?
That ominous comment coming before President Trump huddled with top advisors late today about how to handle Pyongyang's most provocative move yet, asking about military options, according to his Secretary of Defense in a rare West Wing statement.
Any threat to the United States or its territories, including Guam, or our allies, will be met with a massive military response, a response both effective and overwhelming.
Today, focusing more on a military response than a diplomatic one, Secretary Mattis still reassured regional partners. President Trump on the phone with Japan's leader on how to maximize pressure on Pyongyang, even as he aims some of his toughest talk at another ally, South Korea, tweeting, "Their talk of appeasement with North Korea will not work." The president's already weighing withdrawal from a trade agreement with Seoul, and now in a dramatic escalation of economic threats, adding the United States is considering, in addition to other options, stopping all trade with any country doing business with North Korea. That could devastate relationships with places like South Korea, but it's probably unrealistic, given it could crater the global economy. The Treasury Secretary now drafting stricter sanctions to cut off Kim Jong-un.
Anybody that wants to do trade or business with them would be prevented from doing trade or business with us.
North Korea testing not just its bombs, but President Trump, too.
The military options for the president really range from bad to awful. If he launches a preemptive strike on the peninsula, North Korea will certainly retaliate against South Korea, and that's all-out war.
Hallie, thank you. All of this following the president's arrival back in Washington after visiting areas of Texas and Louisiana hit hardest by Harvey. The president and first lady visited the city of Houston, stopping at a shelter and spending time with the children affected. They also stopped at a church where they helped load vehicles with relief supplies.
Really, I think people appreciate what's been done. It's been done very efficiently, very well, and that's what we want. We're very happy with the way everything's going. A lot of love. There's a lot of love.
The president is requesting $7.9 billion for Harvey relief and recovery efforts, and Congress is expected to approve the funds. Turning now to an update on a story that was making headlines last week. Texans struggling to find gas may see some improvement by the middle of next week. Texas Congressman Joe Barton says refineries are already starting to come back online. Texas residents have spent the past few days waiting in long lines at gas stations, sometimes to find the station is completely out of gas. Prices have been on the rise as supply dwindles, the same in other parts of the country as well. And as we continue our coverage of the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, there are still several opportunities to donate to relief efforts. But if you're worried about where your donations are actually going, the Better Business Bureau wants to help. On their website, you can find give.org, which leads to a site where you can search for charities to donate to. But they caution that you should closely check the website before clicking submit on any donation page.
So if they want to give and know that that money is being used, for the purpose it's supposed to be used for, and that there is some accountability with those funds and with that charity as a whole. Give.org is the best place to go to check out the charity.
And happening here in your community, a new program is offering those with new business ideas the opportunity to share them. Thanks to multiple organizations, a year-long competition called the Springboard Program will take place, finding the next best business idea. Qualified applicants can get assistance forming their idea, and then we'll pitch it to judges, and the winner could get $100,000 to build their business. Well, the time is 6:10, and coming up on Abilene today, a family in Austin visiting their 4th shelter since their home was severely damaged. But it's what this shelter is doing for them that is making them so grateful. That story is coming up.
And it's a mild morning to start your Labor Day. I'll show you almost a summer-like forecast for your holiday coming up next.
You're watching KRBC Abilene Today with Joni McKenna and meteorologist Grant Tosteru.